Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Should we go for one more? Yes. All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Neighbors will be all right.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Krishna's mercy.
Okay. Oh. Ajnanatirandhasya jnananjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are going to discuss about we are going to narrate a beautiful pastime of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So everyone here is aware of Sri Nityananda Prabhu? Everyone. Is there somebody who does not know Sri Nityananda Prabhu? Please raise up your hands. Okay. How many of us are fans of Sri Nityananda Prabhu? Nityananda Prabhu fan club, show of hands. Yeah, it's a great fortune to be a member of Sri Nityananda Prabhu's club. Just as his name signifies eternal bliss. Similarly, getting to know his personality and his characteristics brings a lot of happiness to the fortunate souls. He is also called as Nityananda Ram. By Ram we mean the dictionary meaning of the word Ram is the reservoir of pleasure. So already he is full of Anand and his Ramas. So if total pleasure could increase 10x times or 100x times, then that is Nityananda Ram. He is the elder brother of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas at an early age. He was just 18 when he took sannyas. We could consider that most probably he had just graduated from college. And then he took sannyas. And before that, he was married. What is the legal age of marriage here? 18. Okay. In those days, it was a little earlier, I guess. He was married at 16. By then, he had his own startup, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Very successful. In fact, his startup was doing so much business that the regular businesses were closing down. He was a big time scholar. Nimai Pandit. Anyways, today we are going to speak about Nityananda Prabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and he had traveled to Jagannath Puri. He had taken up residence at Sri Jagannath Puri. Nityananda Prabhu hadn't formally accepted sannyas, and he stayed back in Bengal. So every year he would come to visit Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So one particular year, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to not come anymore to Jagannath Puri. The reason being, he wanted him to stay back in Bengal and continue to assist all the fortunate souls who would want to practice Krishna consciousness. Now these two brothers, they were very infectious, their presence. Now, if we could think of pandemic as a good thing, if that is possible, then the two brothers had brought about the pandemic of the holy names. And a whole generation of people, elderly people, young people, children, toddlers, everyone was very inspired just by their presence. In fact, even if the birds and the beasts would happen to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu dance, then their hearts would be jumping in joy. Today I was visiting a very old friend. Now I have spent most of my life growing up or working in India. India is a very free society. No, it is, really. There are certain, let us say, special characteristics that Indians have when it comes to our relationship with dogs. And most of the dogs in India are very friendly. Most of them. Unless and until they meet you at strange hours. So, if there is a human dog meet, then the curfew hours for such meeting is after 10 p.m. in the night up to 4 a.m. Curfew. You're not supposed to venture out, especially when dogs are having their party. So as I said, we in India, we are very open-minded. We let the dogs have their party. And the rest of the hours of the day, we keep 6 feet distance from them. But we have a very accommodating nature. And they have to be glorified that they accommodate us. They like look at us and, oh, it's the same boring people. Let them pass. Not interested. So today I went to the house of a friend. They have a dog at home. So we've known each other for quite some time. So he tried to make me comfortable. The dog is very friendly, don't worry. Yeah. And the dog was really very nice, very nice. Not that it was a revelation for me, but still. Just wanted to express that. So at one point of time, the little dog comes up. I think it's a poodle. I'm not really sure. I'm not good about the various species of dogs. I don't have much information on that, but little poodle comes up to where I'm sitting on this couch and just is loitering there, like just being there. So he says that he has come to you because he wants you to pat him. So I said, all right. Now, I've dealt with humans and human children. So I was wondering, what kind of patting does the dog need? Like I would need tips, isn't it? So I made a gesture. I kind of did some kind of patting and I asked my friend, is this correct? He says, yes. So growing up in India, I have also interacted a lot with cows, horses, goats, even donkeys. They like to be, gently massaged or scratched. It has to do with their extremities are not as functionable as our extremities. So if you give them a good scratch, they like it. So I was gently doing that. I was very happy. Very, very quiet. Like it was completely surrendered. Put full trust in a stranger. Then after some time I told the dog, all right, now go to someone else. So the dog looks up, not happy. Doesn't want to go away from a good pat. So my friend tells him that you go. So he goes away. Then I ask him a question. I ask him, do you think your pet uses its intelligence only for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending? Is that an interesting question? What do you think? Why do you think I was asking that question? Because we've heard there are 8.4 or 8,400,000 species of life, right? 400,000 species of life. out of which 400,000 are the human species, and the remaining 8 million are the other species of life. And the other species of life, generally, most of their intelligence is used in activities of ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithun. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So I asked him, what is your experience? He said, well, I've noticed that our dog has attachment to us, is attached to us. And he gave me an example. He said that if we have to leave the dog alone in the house because we have some work, so we keep some prasad for the dog, so the dog can eat if it is hungry. Every time after such an outing, when we come back, we find that the dog has not eaten anything. And after we come back, then the dog will eat. And he said something very interesting. He said, it is as if the dog was feeling miffed, was all feeling angry that you left me all alone in the house. And you think that I won't miss you. You think that you can bribe me with some food. Maybe, and as humans, we also have some sentiments for the pet. However, I was wondering that scriptures, they make us aware of how the material world functions. And this verse from the scriptures is about how every other species other than the human species is not really capable of making an inquiry beyond ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maithun. So the dog is not expressing, most probably we may not understand if the dog is expressing its intent for spiritual realization, but it does seem that at least the owners feel that the dog's intelligence expresses emotions of attachment. So I was wondering, today I was wondering about two things in this regard. One, that association is very powerful, isn't it? Now, both ways. There is going to be some effect of one's association, some effect. Now, typically, an animal is programmed, or every other species other than the humans, typically most of them, there are a few exceptions, is programmed to either fight or fly. Because generally they see it as danger. Hence, most of the animals are constantly on guard, constantly on guard. They're like always, they cannot be stable, excepting the bigger animals, Constantly, you look at in the wild, I'm saying in the wild, if they are domesticated, then they become as lazy as us. But in the wild, they're constantly, even if they're eating or drinking or taking rest, their ears are up, their eyes are open. Their sense of touch is always on high alert. But see, with association, even they can manifest intelligent emotions or emotions that shows signs of intelligence. So shouldn't we as humans be able to always take the maximum benefit of the potential that we have? We have advanced intelligence, which can help us develop emotions for that which is supernatural. All it needs is good association, close association for the Supreme Lord. I'm not sure what kind of vision a dog has. No, every species has their own way they see things. So most probably a dog doesn't see you and me as I see you and me. It's quite possible. Similarly, it is possible that we may not see the Supreme Lord as those who have very, very pure emotions, or they have a very, very close connection with the Supreme Lord. It's quite possible. However, we do have the potential to develop that because humans have advanced intelligence. So what do you think? Most of you are engineers, right? The adults here. What do you think? Is it possible to feel close to God as you're dealing with your 1010? The codes. Because there's a lot of intelligence going in there, you know. So there is the potential. We have to believe in it. So that is one thing. What was the other thing that I was thinking about is that if we are not able to use our potential, like this dog is domesticated, right? It's a pet. It's treated as a part of the family. Not all the dogs have that opportunity. So they miss out on it. So I was thinking that what would happen if we miss out on this opportunity? We'd be lost, we'd be lost in terms of not being able to ever experience those emotions. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to let life go past? Go just life passes us by like that. Maybe not. Maybe we should think deeply about it. Yes. So coming back to Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda, their very presence would make everyone happy. Like people would sometimes be, because everyone has free will, right? So sometimes they would feel that there is some antagonism towards Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. However, when they would come in front of them, they're like, the brain is telling them that you have to be antagonistic. Their heart is telling them, I cannot. So when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas and he came to Jagannath Puri, and all the devotees would come and spend 4 months in a year with him, things changed in Bengal. It's like 1/3 of the year, and the people of Bengal would not see. So out of sight, out of mind. Does it happen to us? Out of sight, out of mind. The next time we go to these places where there are these rides and the big malls, it's interesting. Out of sight, out of mind. How many of you are interested in cars? Cars? Cars. Big time, isn't it? It would be strange if some of you said that you are not. Cars are interesting. Imagine you're at the dealers, the car dealers, and look at this really luxurious car and checking it out. Out of sight, out of mind. Isn't it? So the longer or the more time that we spend away from such association, the chances are more that we'll forget. Hence, in the Gita Mahatmya, it is said that Sakrit Gita Amritam Snanam, Jala Snanam Dine Dine. Maline Mochanam Pumsam, Jala Snanam Dine Dine, Sakrit Gita Amritam Snanam. Samsara Malanasham. Just as we try to cleanse our external body by taking a bath every day, similarly, we must cleanse our consciousness by associating with transcendental sound vibration every single day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya, he requested Nityananda Prabhu to stay back in Bengal. So Nityananda Prabhu did that after some persuasion. Nityananda Prabhu, being Nityananda Prabhu, sometimes he would be very eccentric. Most of you are married people here, right? They are the adults. Married? Most of you. Have you seen your spouse be eccentric? So you know what eccentric means. Now, all of a sudden you don't, it's like I have been living with this person since I don't know when. What is this new trait? Now all of a sudden, today I would like to eat rasagulla. Like, what? You've been a Telugu throughout your life. What is rasagulla? New taste. You take yogurt rice. Rasagulla. It would be nice, sometimes. The way we kind of make everything suit our taste. Like the Hakka noodles. The traditional people in the Orient, China, Japan, they would be wondering that, why did we ever bring this to India? There's more of sauce than noodles. And what is all of the spices? This chili, red chili. I wouldn't be surprised if I go to Telangana or Andhra and I see that rasagulla is eaten with yogurt or in yogurt. It's too sweet. Give me some. So Nityananda Prabhu sometimes can be, or he is eccentric. Suddenly he would kind of, say, get me a throne. And they would manifest a throne. Not one of those thrones from the drama companies. A real throne. A jewel throne. And he would sit on it and he would say, decorate me. So yesterday I was speaking about it. You have earrings and your necklaces, and you would have armlets, bracelets. Every finger would have rings on it, turban. Like Ba Mulazim. Bharat Bhukhanda Naresh, something like that. The Supreme Excellency is here to be sitting. And people would be very happy seeing him. So some thieves, they happen to see that on Facebook, on social media. So the leader of the gang of thieves, the dacoit king, he became incognito, in the incognito mode. He became a member of their entourage and he was trying to spy on them. He was scouting out. Finally, he had sufficient data, information. He comes back to his gang and he convinces them. They are super convinced. So they have a plan to loot, steal from Nityananda Prabhu. However, in India, there is a place known as Chambal. It is also known as Chambal Ghati. You know Chambal? The ravines. Here in America, North America, when you speak of ravines, then you think of some Mexican cowboys. Yeah. The Wild West movies, not the Wild West, but I think about Mexican towns whenever they have. There's always a ravine scene. Somehow, because that country, I guess, that is its topography. So Chambal, I had some program there. Chambal is quite safe nowadays. It has lost its status, its original status. So I had a program there. Now, many of my friends who have known me for a long time, they are completely convinced that I am also a little eccentric. The reason being that if I am with you or you are with me, and we have some time on our hands, then I will be more inquisitive than your son or daughter. Like, what about this? Where does this road go? Why is this town called like this? What could be the population of this town? What is the crime rate here? I've done that. No. Yeah. So I was in the Chambal and I was like really couldn't hold it back. I wanted to know about the dacoit history. Daku, dacoit. Tell me something about the dacoits. The first thing they told me is there's a difference between dacoits and thieves. Caste distinction. Thieves are all useless people. Chor and daku, there's a difference. I said, like, for me, I'm a layman. I think they're the same. Maybe a chor is simply a high school graduate and a dacoit is a PhD. That is what I would think. So they said, no, there's a difference. A thief steals. A dacoit kills. And I wouldn't explain, maybe all of you are simple-hearted people. I wouldn't want you to have strange dreams tonight. But they explain that how thieves do not have the heart. The word they use was jigger. Thieves don't have the jigger. We dacoits have the jigger. Hence we can kill. They don't have malice. It's just that when it comes to, I think, their profession, they find it much easier to have a man lay prone and erect, standing up. If a man is like lying flat, the person is not going to get up. So these dacoit kings, that was my real-time education in what dacoits are. After that, I've had real respect for dacoits. I no longer had the Robin Hood feeling in me anymore. The adventurous spirit, not in the Chambal Valley. Let the dacoits be at peace. They can have their space. So the dacoits, they decided to stalk and finding a good opportunity, loot the party of Nityananda Prabhu. So the entire gang, they come to this place where Nityananda Prabhu is staying. Now, dacoits are very stealthy people. Stealth is in their very veins, in their very blood. They can just slither in and out without anyone's noticing them. So practically no one knew about the dacoits' plan except Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, by his glance, he injects miniature cameras within a person, right in the heart. And from there, he has a 360-degree view of that person's entire life. Nityananda Prabhu's processor has immense capacity. It can store tons and tons of data. So Nityananda Prabhu knew. He said, let me make things easy for them. So he specially moved into a house that was very secluded and there was only one recluse staying there. The dacoit said, the gods are merciful on us today. We thought that it would be difficult, but now it's going to be like cakewalk. By the way, what does a cakewalk actually mean? What do? You walk on cakes, or people throw cakes wherever you're walking? But somehow it seems a cakewalk means easy going, right? Yeah, I have to find out what a cakewalk means. It would be interesting to find out. There must be some story behind it. Next time in some pravachan, I can keep people humored by this new information. So they think that this is going to be a cakewalk. This is going to be so easy. They are so excited. They are so happy. They are like, tonight we are going to have so much fun. That never happened. Why? Because when they came to that house, they found that there was a full blast party going on. They're like, this person has friends? How does this person have friends? Like, we are dacoits. We really find out everything about the place that we want to loot. We are sure that this person, people here, even these stray animals don't know that this person exists. I mean, the USPS delivery van wouldn't even by mistake deliver anything at his house. It's practically non-existent on Google Maps. And they have a party going on. Like dozens of people right there. So they select one of their men and they say, you go quietly ahead and find out what is the scene. So he comes back. He says that everyone is chanting, dancing, and they are so happy and they're laughing, and most probably it will end very soon. It seems like that. So why do you feel like that? Oh, they are dancing so energetically. I don't think so they will last beyond 15 minutes. How many of you have been in a very ecstatic, enthusiastic kirtan in the Hare Krishna movement? Have you ever lasted beyond 15 minutes? 1-5? You know, you like, and it feels like an entire lifetime of Brahma has gone. And then you look at your watch, 3 minutes. That's a new record. New record made today. 3 minutes of really like rocking kirtan dance. So he's like, oh, yeah, looking at them, you know, some of them are old people, frail. Others are, you know, very simple, thin. Most probably the crowd will disperse in an hour or two. Okay, let us make ourselves comfortable. Just sit under a tree. Nityananda Prabhu summons Nidra Devi, the goddess of sleep. She comes and she says, yeah, I understand, my dear sir. She goes and visits these people and tells them, hey, they're very much influenced by her. They're like, thank you for coming. We needed you here. All of them fall asleep. They wake up the next morning. The next morning, when they wake up, the first thing is, we are in danger zone. We are exposed because there's bright sunlight. People are passing by on the streets. They have their weapons. They're like, what should we do? So they put their weapons somewhere inside their clothes. They rush to the river Ganga, take their bath. After that, they have a blame game. You slept. No, you slept. You should have been awake. It was your job. So the leader says, I think we made a mistake. We should have worshipped goddess Chandi, taken her blessings, and then gone on that task. All right. How many of you were there for my presentation yesterday evening? Okay. So we've just kind of summarized what happened yesterday. Was it a little different? So they think that their leader is like a very wise person. Oh, wow, 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 wow. What an advice. Prabhu, where are your lotus feet? They go to the leader and like, amazing. What an insight. Does that ring a bell in our lives? Have we had experiences where we have faced some failures and we're like, maybe Krishna doesn't want us, or maybe we are not chanting properly. Or maybe, I should have gone to the temple first and taken the blessings of Radha Madan Mohan. So I have a chance tomorrow. You come back home and you tell your wife or your husband, tomorrow before my interview, I'm going to go to the temple, take darshan, do prayers, come back. Wow, 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 wow. Where are your lotus feet? That's such an important insight. Amazing. So that day, they spend a lot of time in worshiping Goddess Chandi, like making preparations for an elaborate worship at dusk. So after that is done, they collect their weapons, they sharpen their weapons. They are all getting pumped up now because yesterday they could not get the job done. Have you experienced that also in our lives? When you cannot complete your task and somehow you have to postpone that to the next day. The next day, it's as if you're a different person. Yesterday, you dare challenge me and not let me complete the task. That is you telling the task. Aaj batata hu. Today, I'll get it done. For all those of you who have had this experience while cooking, please don't cook the next day in this mood. So they were really very eager. The sun sets, slowly the night sounds become quiet. Have you experienced that? When you tell Alexa, relaxation sounds. And then there is this intense quietness. Deafening quietness. How can quietness be deafening? But still, it's a phrase that is used. Sound can be deafening. Anyways, it's like really quiet. Village, no? And especially if you're on the outskirts of the village, after some time, even the night sounds, the crickets and the other creepy crawlies, they all fall silent. A village shuts down early, right? So what are they going to, except the night owl hooting? There's nothing else. So in a couple of hours, everything is quiet. So they approach the house where Nityananda Prabhu is staying. He is staying with Hiranya Pandit. All right. That night, it is perfectly still. Nothing breaks the silence of that night. Not a single sound. All the dacoits are whispering, like addressing their king. Prabhu, where are your lotus feet? Where are your lotus feet? Goddess Chandi has blessed us. Everything's quiet. Perfect. So the previous night, the spy that had gone to, one of the men that had gone to spy on the happenings inside the house had noticed all that Nityananda Prabhu had on his form, all the jewels, the gold, the silk, all of that. And he came back and confirmed it. So they're like, yes, today we'll get all, all that we have ever imagined, all the wealth. They come near to the house, the outer wall, and in the darkness, they see they see a scene that completely freezes their blood. All of them, they just are shocked beyond their wildest of imagination, because they saw that they were guards. They were guards, sentries walking all along the perimeter, not just one watchman saying, Jagate Raho. No, there are like a dozen of them. And very interestingly, all of them were well armed. They were very tall, able-bodied, and all of them were, they were looking so brilliant, effulgent. And they were speaking, and the only sound coming from their mouths was Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Giant-sized, able-bodied men chanting Hare Krishna. There's still hope, right? Sometimes we feel that only people who have those who have only faced failures, they come to Krishna consciousness. The first time I came to Krishna consciousness, somebody asked me, I was a young boy then, what is the sorrow of your life? And over these almost 3.5 decades that I've spent interacting with people, I have realized that the world really is designed to give a lot of suffering. At least people can imagine that there's a lot of suffering. So many people, typically, whoever it is, please pray for us. Why? So that misery goes away. So, able-bodied men chanting Hare Krishna, they had weapons. The dacoits realized this is not good. They were seasoned people. Yeah, they were really very good at being dacoits. They could immediately understand that each sentry was capable of taking on at least a dozen of them single-handedly. They looked around. We are a dozen. Dirty dozen. Just one of them can, handle all of us. Do you know how angered the others would be if they don't get a chance at us? I think we should be very careful. Then the king of the dacoits, because he had seen Nityananda Prabhu and been with his entourage for a long time, he noticed something amazing. He's like, there is tilak on their heads, on their foreheads. Okay. Slowly, the temperature is falling, isn't it? It's getting a little cold, right? So I can see the expressions on your faces. So let me ask you a very, very common sense question. Most of you will know the answer. Still, I'll ask. "20 boys went on a picnic." Let us say, I don't want to be misogynistic. So, 10 boys and 10 girls, all right? They went on a picnic. They decided to take a dip in the swimming pool. So the lifeguard was there. So 20 people want to take a dip in the swimming pool. And they wanted to do that in sync. So the lifeguard is seeing 20 heads go under the water, and then he sees 24 heads come out. What do you think is happening here? You know the answer. Now are you feeling a little warmed up? Because you have to think the blood is flowing. I'm not going to give you the answer because I don't know.
Maybe 4 people already under the water.
They are not. They are not aquatics. 4 aquamen, aqua people. So should we leave that for the end?
You should give 4 options. Multiple choice.
Okay, the first choice is, what do you think happened there? The second choice is, do you think something happened there? The third choice is, when do you think it happened? And the fourth choice is, do we all agree on what happened there? All right. So the lifeguard saw 20 heads go under the water, and then he saw 24 heads come out of the water.
24 heads. 24 heads.
See, I told you.
Oh, 24 heads.
You know the answer. Good. Good.
I don't know.
24 heads. 4 heads.
The forehead.
Oh.
Not 24. Still very bold.
Anyone needs help? Yeah. Prabhu, you get an extra plate of prasad. So today's Nirjal fast. You get an extra plate of prasad. All right. So they saw that the dacoits, the dacoit king saw that, hey, I've seen those markings somewhere. The others have not. So he's like, what? These are like giants here. They are on guard. They have weapons. They are chanting that soundy thing. And they have these marks. They have tilak marks on their forehead. They have tulsi beads around their necks. They're constantly chanting Krishna's names. Nityananda Prabhu is soundly sleeping inside the house. Dacoits slowly slouched away back into the darkness of the woods. They gathered together. Do you think these guards are going to go away? I don't think so. Someone asked, where did they come from? The others are like, how do we know? We were exactly where you were. How do we know? They're not our friends. One of the men came up with some brilliant idea. I think this Avaduta must have known of our coming and brought these sentries from somewhere. The others are like, Avaduta, what does that mean? You don't know what is Avaduta? So then he gave an impromptu class, a lecture on Avadhut. And Avadhut is someone who basically has an eccentric behavior. Next time, all of you are married couples. So the next time you have a choice word which you can use for your spouse. If you feel they're being eccentric, what do you say? Oh, you are an Avadhut. Avadhut is basically who doesn't have any care in this world, like completely carefree, very simple-hearted, only feels a lot of affection and friendliness towards everyone. That is an Avadhut. So some of you are thinking that you'll not use the word for your spouse now. Avadhut. So they just go, oh, now we know. So his friend, his close friend, another member of the gang, he says, yeah, that makes sense. You know, I spent some time in the town today and I've heard people talk about this Avadhut. It seems that this Avadhut is very knowledgeable. In fact, he's a saint. People respect him a lot. I've heard that he is totally fearless. Now we know why he's fearless. Anyone who has such guards will definitely be fearless. These guards are almost superhuman. I think he has mystical powers. And this is a display of his mystical powers, his potency. No wonder they call him Goswami. So what do you think the rest of the crowd does? What is Goswami? So now his friend has to give them an understanding of what is a Goswami. A Goswami is someone who is an Avadhut. Because a Avadhut does not have a single worry in this world, that Avadhut's mind and senses are always peaceful. And a Goswami is somebody whose senses are always peaceful. Go is a Sanskrit word sometimes used for the senses. All of our senses cumulatively are called as go. And Swami means master. Goswami is somebody whose senses are always at peace, totally pacified, never agitated. So when they understood what a Goswami is, another member of the gang said, I think you are quite ignorant. I know what a Goswami means. A Goswami is somebody who's very detached, does not have any possessions in this material world. Look at this Avadhuta. With all that gold and jewelry and all the silk, you think he's a Goswami? I think he's a outright materialist. Most probably even his khadao must be from Nike. Wooden slippers. Khadao. You're so ignorant. How can he be a Goswami, somebody whose senses are completely controlled? Finally, the dacoit leader, he said, I have considered all of the possibilities. And I've spent some time with his party, with him, incognito. I have seen that many powerful and influential people come to meet the Avadhut. These sentries must be the best soldiers of some powerful king come here to guard the king who has come to visit the Avadhut. This is our bad luck. So the other said, all right, but what about all of that? Do you see the king's soldiers put on tilak? He said, oh, I've seen the influence of this Avadhut. People around him just, their hearts melt and they become completely immersed. And after that, all of them put on tilak. I've seen that. So I think these sentries, these soldiers of the king, they must have come under his influence. And now they are all immersed in chanting Hare Krishna. As long as these soldiers are here, we should stay away. I think we should take a break. A king, typically, when the king comes for a visit, then a king could stay for a few days. So he said, let us take a break of 8 to 10 days and come back. Let us go back to our houses today and come up with another plan and hope that very soon we will be successful and we'll find the Avadhuta all by himself. So they were all gone. Nityananda Prabhu stayed in that house for a few more days. Hiranya Pandit was having a jolly good time. Yeah. Hiranya Pandit was going like he was every day singing, he's a jolly good fellow, he's a jolly good fellow. He's a jolly good fellow. Hiranya Pandit was very happy. Nityananda Prabhu was also very comfortable. The dacoits, as I said, were trained professionals. And never had they made such huge miscalculations. It wasn't possible. So the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he gives us an advice. He says that simply by remembering Sri Nityananda Prabhu and taking full shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, one can overcome all the reverses in a life. The Supreme Lord, just by his desire, is all powerful. He does not even have to show his prowess. Just by his desire is all powerful because he's omnipotent and omnipresent. And because he's omnipotent and omnipresent, those who have taken shelter of him can remember him in all circumstances. And when we remember him, then we we are freed of all the anxiety brought about by ignorance, by Gyan. Another biographer who wrote about the life and activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He describes the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in similar words. Kaviraj Goswami says, Kathanchan smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitam syat Shri Chaitanyam namamitam. He says that simply by remembering Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, unto whom I offer my humble obeisances, all that is dushkara, all that is very difficult or problematic, becomes sukara, becomes easily resolved. How? Somehow. So somehow that happens. Kathanchan. And similarly, if one somehow forgets Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then even the simplest of the tasks becomes very time consuming, becomes a challenge. Right? Nice verse. ISKCON Silicon Valley is known for having an attachment to horses. There's like a never-ending river of horses flowing here. So do you want to chant that verse? This verse? Okay. Kathanchan smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite viparitam syat Shri Chaitanyam namami tam. A lot of familiar words, isn't it? So which words sound familiar? Dushkaram. What is Dushkaram?
Impossible, hard to achieve.
Difficult. Yeah. What else? Namamitam. Shri Chaitanyam Namamitam. So I offer respects to Tam means that. Lord Shri Chaitanya. Yeah. It can be Namamyaham also. It's not wrong. The Sanskrit is correct. That I offer obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Here, because he's saying, he's speaking about the remembrance of a person called Sri Chaitanya, hence Tam has been used. All right. So, what is the meaning of that word? Namami. Any similar sounding words? Namaste. Namaskara. Yeah. Namaste. Namaskar. Namaha. Namo Namaha. See, I told you, Silicon Valley. Any other words? Kathanchan smrite yasmin tushkaram sukaram bhavet. Smrite. What does smrite mean?
Remembrance.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Vismrite viparitam syat. Vismrite. What does vismrite mean? Forgetful. Perfect. Vismrite viparitam syat. Viparitam.
According to our terms.
What does, have you heard Viparitam? Viparit? Vinash Kale Viparita Buddhi.
Extremes. Too much.
Lot of movies.
Extreme.
Viparita. Opposite. Yeah, the opposite. All right, like Upari. You know what is Upari?
Upper.
On top.
On top.
Upari. Vipari.
No,
The opposite of that. Opposite. Going south. It goes south. Yeah, Sri Chaitanya. So you practically know the meaning of the verse. See? Isn't it? What did we miss out? Kathanchan. Kathanchan. Somehow. Kathanchan. Somehow. Somehow or the other. Kathachit. Similar sounding word. Yasmin. Yasmin, that person. Someone. Yeah, Yasmin. So there. So now we've chanted that verse, right? So remembrance of the Supreme Lord, remembrance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, remembrance of Nityananda Prabhu is very, very helpful. Just as remembrance of Krishna. Yeah. It helps us accept situations in life. Many times people think that there's going to be a turnaround. I was not about to complete this task, and I remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, boom, the task will be done. What it basically means is that we were going towards the emotion of being dejected, feeling dejection. But by remembering Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we get strength to work on that challenge or with that challenge. That is a correct understanding. All right. I asked the Lord to give me food. And what did he give me? He gave me strong hands to cook. That was a good one. Should we end on that? Yeah. It's almost 8:40. So tomorrow we'll continue. Yeah, tomorrow there's a home program. So we'll continue tomorrow. What happened after that? So please remember the Supreme Lordships. Yeah. And be happy in life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Questions or comments? Yes.
How did the dacoits have that much knowledge? Like, they were. But dacoits is a bad path, right? They are choosing a bad path.
How did the dacoits, they had Sanskrit verses like knowing the Avaduta, knowing Goswami, and then knowing the explanations for it. So when they're on the wrong track, how did they know those meanings?
Their parents sent them to Gurukul.
Oh.
These are words that were commonly used by laymen in those times. Like, do you think a dacoit in Rayalaseema would understand what Garu means? Okay. What part of India did you grow up in?
South India.
South India? Hyderabad?
Yeah, and then mostly Tirupati, Nellore.
So that is no longer used?
Yes, respect.
Garu. Garu. Yes.
Okay.
Garu.
Garu. Respect of my God.
Mahaprabhu Garu. Advaita Acharya Garu. Today we have invited. We have come to the house of Achyuta Kumar Garu. So if you think a dacoit from Telangana or Rayalaseema comes here, he'll say, Achittu Kumara Garu, please give me your. So what do you, would you be amazed if he's saying Garu? Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful lecture. My question is, just like with dacoits, I feel like working in corporate America for 17 years. I lived with dacoits. I worked with them every day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So the association that we talked about in the beginning, right, that is so important. And it's almost like those dacoits, we are seeing, we know our contact is there for us on the weekend, but it's almost like we're always at that distance, surrounded by all this association. Similar to what these dacoits were. And how do we handle that, right? Because we don't have association of devotees Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So how do we continue to progress in bhakti if there are circumstances of life?
It's just wonderful. I feel so very convinced that you have picked up the proper mood that most devotees in ISKCON should have. I'm sorry. You see, most of the people in the external world, most of them generally speaking, other than a few, they may not be aware of Krishna consciousness, yes. However, they have a large role and a very important role in helping us stay humans. If it were not for them, then most probably we would have felt all alone and we would not have been able to express our human emotions. So we could be grateful to them and also see an opportunity that at least they have the basic human qualities. They have that intelligence to be a seeker, to understand, to ask if their inclination is aroused and if they have a chance. Isn't it? So, if you have understood the necessity of Krishna consciousness, and if there is a way that you could share that with them, then that very place which right now seems to be a little insecure could be similar to heavenly planets. When Srila Prabhupada was asked by some reporters and Swamiji, why did you come here? He said, the British looted us and took away all of our valuables. However, they forgot the most valuable thing, spiritual knowledge. So I've come to give it to them. Steal this also. Isn't it? Yeah. So the innocent or unaware human population has contributed a lot in helping us retain our human qualities and making us believe that we are humans. And generally, because of that association, a lot of the animalistic tendencies may not have come forth. So we are grateful. However, there is still more that they can also, more realization that they can also have in their lives. And maybe that is how we repay back what we received from them by sharing the understanding of Krishna consciousness. Is that helpful? Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the class, Prabhu. I would like to know deeper, what do you mean by remembrance when you have challenges? I would like to know more about remembrance part, Prabhu. So the verse we recited, right? So at the time, if challenges come, it's all mundane. I mean, we are all conditioned. So we should pray that these will go away by remembrance, or remembrance means they are the supreme controllers, well-wishers, they are insignificant, so let it be. What do you mean by remembrance?
What do I mean by remembrance? Nice. Now you've made me think. But a good question. Obviously, growing up, you went to college. India? Would you want to share which college? Share with all of us. You forgot.
Some degree college, I forgot the name.
Some degree college. That's okay. Most probably you did not even know it then. It was just a degree college. Some degree college. Did you attend the college? Like the requisite attendance that was there, so you had to attend, right? Good. You had friends. Good friends. Do you still keep in touch?
One or two.
One or two? Yeah, typically everyone does that. Have you ever had a get together?
They are planning, but it's time we didn't go.
Okay. But there was some planning, right? So when that talk was happening, did you remember those days? Did you have a long chat with each other? Do you remember that? Do you remember this? Do you remember first year or whatever? Maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, more than that. How did it make you feel?
Very happy.
See, that is remembrance. For such kind of remembrance, you need to have experiences. If you don't have some experiences of the past, where some interactions of the past, then it's simply theoretical. Yeah. Let's say somebody gets to hear that they should walk up to have the darshan of, they should walk up the hills, Sheshadri hills, to take darshan of Venkatesh. Yeah, they hear about that. And someone has been doing that every year growing up. Right? And somebody says that, hey, this year let's go. Both are getting to hear that they should go walk up the hills to have darshan of Balaji. There would be the remembrance would be a little different in the two cases, isn't it? One will try to kind of feel excited about it, thinking that, Balaji, and he'll take away all of, and the other has experience of it. That whenever I went there, walked up, it was a really good experience. So that remembrance gives you some comfort. It makes you feel very relaxed. Right? So when we practice Krishna consciousness and when we read about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and we feel close to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then whenever we have some challenges in life and remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then there'll be a feeling of warmth. Yeah. So there needs to be some prior interaction for this verse to its meaning to manifest in our lives. Is it helpful?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Many times, otherwise, we could, I think the expected answer was like we have devotees. I have so many devotees say that to me. Like, I was taking care of a devotee who was in severe pain. So this person walks in and says, Prabhu, chant Hare Krishna, pain will go away. Remember the Supreme Lord. Pain will go away. It's a good suggestion. But for that, one needs to have had prior experiences of how by remembering the Supreme Lord, the pain did go. Then it feels more practical, or it is more acceptable. Otherwise, intellectually we accept it, but the heart is still confused. Yeah. Okay. Yes, bro.
Does that remembrance experience have to be personal, or like we can hear from Shastras or something?
In ISKCON's Silicon Valley, you can ask questions only on mics. That gives the person who is taking care of this sound system an opportunity to serve you. All right.
So, continuing with the same question, the remembrance of the experience, that experience has to be personally, like, do I have to experience myself getting relief of the pain when I remember the Lord to remember again and feel the same thing, or can I remember somebody else going through, like maybe in Shastras or a friend going through the same experience and I can get the same thing?
Realizations realizations happen either by direct experience, like we are involved in that and then we have a realization, or it can be an acquired realization, or realization can be through an acquired experience from somebody else's experience too. That is possible. Both ways. Your choice. What is easier for you? What makes it more tangible for you?
Personal is always easier.
There you go.
But we may not have all the experiences all the time.
That is also true. So your choice. The living entity has the independence to choose, make choices. So that which helps us, if in a particular situation, just through someone else's experience we can learn, we should learn and remember. And wherever it is helpful to have personal experiences, that is how we should have realizations and remember. Yeah. Both ways we can have realizations. So we choose. Every moment we choose. What are the impressions that we want to carry in our mind? Is that okay?
So Prahlad Prabhuji, he had Prahlad
You'll have to repeat again.
Prahlad Maharaj, so he had initially realizations from the scriptures by Narada Muni, and later on his own realizations when he was put into a condition by his dad. Was it like that, Prabhu?
Let us try and read the Srimad Bhagavatam. It will become much more clear. Isn't it? You'll find that it is both ways. Yeah, there's very elaborate descriptions of that. There's descriptions of how he actually felt the presence of the Lord, the Lord's touch. He felt as if he was, the Lord's hand was on his head, or he was in the Lord's embrace. There was those experiences that he had. I'm just hoping that this encourages you to read those portions of the Bhagavatam. Yeah. All right. Yes.
you said about the independence of the jiva.
Mm.
So, where does Krishna's plan for the jivatma's like path and the independence of the jivatma how does it interplay? Like, is everything predetermined by Krishna and the way we react to it or the way we remember it or the way we approach Krishna, is that where the predetermined or?
Let's say that what is predetermined by Krishna for us is that we are very happy loving him. Every jiva has the right, the birthright to be happy in loving service to Krishna. And the free will is used to choose how we want to render loving service to Krishna. All right. So when the living entities miscalculate and make, they take the wrong exit. So there is the guru positioning system that says rerouting. But they decide to mute it. Then they find themselves in this conditioned material universe. So when they unmute that, the GPS, then they come back to the freeway of devotional service and safely reach the destination. Okay.
Just to follow up on that, but like since jivatmas are like extremely conditioned and they are being told between regulatory modes of nature or by factors around them, it's really hard to like cut it one by one and come out of it. Just the thought is like so. I'm already tired by just thinking about okay, how am I going to handle it? And it's not very encouraging to me to know that I have to transcend above the material. Of course, it's not I'm transcending, it's like, of course, like you said, association and guru and Krishna, they all help you transcend, but I don't know how to understand this, and there are just situations in life where we just like so tired that there's no energy and not much motivation to like.
Okay. So you feel sometimes helpless, and as you said, you do not understand how to transcend it. So do you want me to help you see some choices that could be useful?
Yeah.
You want me to do that? Okay. All right, let's make this entire thing fun. All right. Somehow, being in Krishna consciousness for so many years, I have realized that it's not worthwhile always being serious or grave. No, you can be serious in a practice, but it's not worthwhile always being like bogged down with some serious calamity right there in the upper chambers, All right? So let's make it fun. Do you like, what are certain tastes like that which you'd really like to eat? Let's say, at the temple, they make a lot of prasad, which is the best preparation that you really love. Yogurt rice? Wow. The rice? Okay. Yogurt rice, right? Do you have a favorite person whose preparation is really good? Like, you may not name the person if you don't want to, but do you have a favorite person? So let's say there's a favorite person, XYZ, and they make this yogurt rice, you're like really on the seventh heaven or something like that, right? That's true? You agree to that? Is it fun as of now? Okay, good. let's say that it's just you and some of your very close friends, and there's this yogurt rice preparation by this XYZ devotee. Yeah. You can eat as much as you want. So what quantity comes to mind?
1 cup.
1 cup? So 1 cup would be, how big is a cup?
It's 235 grams.
235 grams. So 235 grams. That's sufficient. I can understand that you really like yogurt rice. So let's say 235 grams, right? So here is yogurt rice, a cup full for you. Your friends are also there, and you want to have your cup full, right? 235 grams. Here is a problem. You have some books in your hands, or let's say you have some puris in your hand, or let's say you have some money in your hand, whatever. 1 cup full of yogurt rice comes. Your hands are full. What are you going to do?
I'll ask my best friend to save it.
And they cannot be trusted. Whom can you trust the most?
Then maybe I'll give the book to my friend and I'll have the book with me.
So the first answer was politically correct.
Yeah, actually.
The second answer is the truth. Correct? All right. Let's have fun. Don't be politically correct. All right, let's have fun. Correct? Is it true?
Yeah.
You'd give the books to someone, hey, hold. Let me have the yogurt rice first. Books are important. Yogurt rice is also important. But yogurt rice takes precedence. Correct? Your hands are full. You emptied out your hands for the yogurt rice. True? That is all you have to do. You find something that is so attractive that you want to fill up these upper chambers with that. And if it is full, then what do? You empty it out. Let that in. Keep smiling always. Life is fun. There's always be happy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And there is always so much available which we find very attractive, which keeps us happy, which keeps us enthused. We should fill up our minds with that. All right?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Prabhupada, this is how Prabhupada explained this was, he said, if somebody gives you puri and you have puffed rice, what are you going to do? So the disciple said, I'll keep the puffed rice away and take the puris. He said, halwa puri, I think so. Yeah? So basically, we have to find a higher taste. Vishaya vinivartante, niraharasite, raso varajam rasopras, param drashtva nivartate. Find the higher taste. All right. You're welcome. So we'll stop here. Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.